Welcome everybody to the Trisbrina Show. And today we are diving in deep because this is the truth. The truth about meditation. And we ain't messing. Truth. We're going to dive deep. We're going to talk about all the things.
All the things.
Clearing your mind.
Mind.
Healing your body.
Body.
And connecting.
Spirit.
All the way. Full on. Actually, it's going to be a couple little things happen here.
Little things.
Like a mini interview.
Interviews.
You just trying to let me super cool and swag. This is how we roll. We're talking about meditation.
Meditation.
It's super cool.
Cool.
Dude, we're like so freaking blissing out right now.
Out.
Like, we don't even need drugs, man. No. We just connect to the source of all it is, and it's just like, OMG, because I don't want to say the word God yet.
G.
Oh my God, I'm so drunk on love. All right.
Love.
Enough of that. So.
You like our swagger?
I don't know what that was. I don't think that was swag.
It was good until you started
until I became California. No, seriously.
What do you guys think? How was that?
Yeah,
How was that intro? Should we redo it or just leave it?
Let it be. Let it be.
Let it be.
I'm going to ask Sabrina a very important question. And we're going to ask you a very important question as well. Okay?
Okay.
And then she's going to ask me a similar question.
Maybe. You don't know what I'm going to do.
We only know. We can only guess what might happen on this show. We never know for sure. But we have a direction. And we know that we want to share our truth. Sabrina wants to share her truth first. What is...
I don't want to go first, but I will.
I'm feeling you're called to lead.
I'm driving you crazy, aren't I?
No, you already did that many years ago. Now this is just how do I handle it. I'm already totally crazy. If it wasn't for meditation, I don't think I could go on. So, my dear, we met on a meditation pillow, literally, over 30 years ago. Both on a path, seeking connection to something, or maybe escape from something, maybe a little bit of both. You've learned a couple of things about this journey and about the modality and the experience. And I will say no more, other than the question to you is, what's your truth about meditation? What is meditation? Pitch, catch.
Well, Tristan, first of all, that's a really huge question.
I think so.
But before I answer that, I'd like to say that most people that I speak to, why are you laughing?
Our friends are here making little jokes.
They think that meditation is spiritual. And let's just talk about things that are spiritual, right? I actually made my hair very spiritual today. Spiritual hair either looks like you're at the beach or like you just got up and just don't care. That's very spiritual. Having a shirt off your shoulder is really spiritual. Feathers. I wore feathers because feathers are very spiritual. Right?
I like where this is going.
Dangly earrings and chokers. Very spiritual.
Is my necklace spiritual?
Your necklace is spiritual.
It's a very spiritual necklace. Okay, good.
There are things that are spiritual. Not eating for a few days. Very spiritual. Very spiritual. Eating organic.
Extra spiritual.
Just very spiritual. Only wearing cotton.
That's very spiritual.
Very spiritual. Not making money. Very spiritual.
I kind of like where this is going. I really don't know where this is going, but I like it.
We decided not to talk before the show tonight. So, spiritual gangster, wearing yoga clothes.
Oh, Lululemon.
Not just to yoga, but as your entire wardrobe. Very spiritual.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wearing the same thing multiple days, very spiritual. Not wearing makeup, extremely spiritual.
Extra spiritual points if you don't wear makeup.
Wearing really good makeup that looks like you're not wearing any, even more spiritual.
Bonus points.
Piercings, really spiritual, right? Doing hallucinogenics, pretty darn spiritual.
Melissa said making money is definitely spiritual.
Hair under the armpit, that can be pretty spiritual.
Maybe back in the 70s.
No?
No, still?
Still.
What?
Totally shaving bare things can be very spiritual.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I'm behind the times here.
And journaling.
Oh, that's pretty spiritual.
It's very, very spiritual.
Okay. So we really identified what's spiritual. Mm-hmm. So how does that relate to my question?
So, no, all of that was just to say, like, those are like so funny to me. Those are, and it's whatever anyone does, I totally like you, I bless you, you have my love, however you connect to spirit. But there's certain things that our society right now are like very spiritual, and it's kind of funny. But if you think that that's spiritual and it makes you feel like a beautiful person when you do it, like wearing this choker right now, I just feel like so connected with this.
Can I put some of your guys' stuff on the screen because it's so funny? Okay, guy says, I agree, feathers are very spiritual. Carolyn has a good one. She said, what about hairy legs and no bras? My bras are all face masks. Melissa says, I'm liking the spiritual stuff. Ron's telling me I need to get with it. I love this one. Betty says, I must be nuts. I don't understand. Awesome. All right.
Happy birthday, Betty. So there are all of these things from the outside in. So when you say spiritual, if I really think about what that maybe used to mean or what it should mean, is that it helps you connect to spirit. And nothing on the outside is ever going to help you connect to spirit. Not a pendant necklace, not a choker, not a feather, nothing, right? It's the meaning that you put on it so that you can associate a feeling and an emotion with that puts you more in a state of love. So I just wanted to kind of debunk the whole spiritual thing. Wearing a cross, very spiritual. Or to some people, wearing the yin yang, very spiritual.
Or like not spiritual.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's all perspective, right?
All perspective.
That's something that we've really come to land on in this life is how do you say this is and this isn't spiritual, right? This is the spiritual path, that's not.
Right.
Tricky.
And the reason I brought that up is because meditation gets tossed into the spirituality bucket quite often, and I do not put it in that bucket. I do like shirts off the shoulder, and I do like chokers, and I like feathers. I like a lot of those things, but not because they're spiritual, but maybe because of the imprints that I have from movies and books of girls on top of the mountain with their hair blowing and feather earrings. Makes me feel a certain way. Makes me feel free. Makes me feel connected to the wind. It makes me feel like I'm an Indian, because Indians are very spiritual, right?
True.
Right?
Well, some Indians.
It's a funny like because it's of the earth, and of the earth is very spiritual. Right. So then pop over to meditation. Let's take meditation out of all of those labels for me.
Okay.
And my truth of meditation is that, and if I had to say one thing that it is the state of listening.
The
state of listening. Which is also, you could say, the state of receiving. So can I be the talker and the listener simultaneously? Not very well. This is why meditation for me, the state of listening, that's why in a state of meditation, when you have mastered meditation, you know how to listen and you can hear the voice of God. You can hear the direction you want to go. You can feel the intuition. You can see the right choices, right? Because you're in the listening. But there are a lot of things that can get you to listen. Because sometimes we're just like blah 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 yak 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 blah 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 da 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 da, and to go from there to just a little bit of speaking, I would say like guided meditation. Guided meditation kind of calms the million voices to maybe just one, right? Especially those meditations that say, you're walking down a path and it's a beautiful day, and it provokes a feeling of beauty. It provokes a feeling of safety. It provokes a feeling of yearning for love. And then from just that one chatter, it's easy to slip into the listening. So for me, what meditation isn't is a guided experience, or let's say a mantra. When you first start meditating with a mantra, you're really thinking about the words that you're saying. But at some point, it's no longer you saying the word, and it's just you are in the word.
Ooh, in the word.
In the word. We always tell the story about someone who's running, they're a jogger, and they're like, I love to jog, I just love to jog, I love running. And his teacher said, well, do you love running? Because what if you lose your legs? What if something happens? You won't be happy anymore if running is what makes you happy. He said, what do you love about it? He goes, I love running, and at first there's effort. There's effort, and it's like, oh, things hurt. And then I keep running, and all of a sudden all I hear are my feet on the ground. Boom, 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 boom. And I hear my breath, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. I'm just the run. And that's what I love so much. So that's using running to slip into the state of listening. Same thing with dance. What is that moment that the dancer with all of its technicians, all its techniques, becomes the dancer? So for me, meditation, I can include the preparation. Yes, guided meditations. Yes, affirmations. Yes, visualizations. Yes, journaling. That's like, those are the doors and the windows. But then there's the rare moment. And it doesn't take many moments. One moment is all it takes to listen. And then everything is given, and there's that union, and then you just hunger for that always. Like nothing else will do. One moment of really experiencing listening, and everything else pales.
Take that microphone and drop it.
Got any more questions?
I love listening to words of wisdom as they flow. Sabrina's been my teacher for decades now, because she has the ability to tap in and listen, and then I hear truth, if you will, her truth, come through that resonates so deeply with me that I would say that's my truth as well. And I think that happens to many of us when we hear certain words, certain vibration that makes us feel a certain way. We probably will say, oh, you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
That's my truth.
Yep.
And that's why I can say she's my teacher in that respect, because I love hearing truth. It lights me up. I love that Kobe said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So we may listen more. I love all of the incredible comments coming through.
Read
and
some.
You guys are super lit up around this conversation, so we are definitely with our tribe here. Beth Donnelly says, well, why don't I just pop some on the screen here so you guys can see what's coming through. Feeling the voice of God.
That's beautiful. Feeling, because usually we would say hearing the voice of God. That's really really
powerful.
poetic. Feeling the voice of God.
Feeling. Yeah, when it becomes visceral, huh? Melissa says she loves guided meditations with nice music, right? Because it helps put us into what I'll use the word state, a state. Let's see, beautifully said for sure.
Sometimes when someone says something that feels like your truth, you won't even remember that they said it. You'll think it's your own. That's why somebody will say something and somebody else might say, well, I just said that. It's like, well, that was so much exactly what I would say that I didn't even know it wasn't me saying it.
Absolutely. I'm just going to maybe change this for a second. See if that happens. I'm going to make that. Oops.
Oops.
Oops, there it is. So we have these beautiful things you all are sharing, and just trying to learn how to make it easier to read.
So Donna said, yes, nothing else will do.
I agree, says Michelle. I love Sabrina's wisdom. Yeah, it's when someone's connected. Barb says, it's the sweetest, most intimate relationship for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how much you love that voice of love. Great.
And,
Coolio.
there is this moment of shift. I notice it mostly in the middle of the night. I've talked about this before, where, consciously I haven't been maybe reframing and choosing. And so some peak experiences can happen in the middle of the night, but I could also wake up and be aware of a lot of a lot of talking, a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of you didn't do that. What about this? You're behind. It's usually stuff like that. You didn't do this. You forgot. There's not enough time. That's a big one. You're not getting it done. And in that moment, it's a really hard shift from that to listening. And that's why all of the meditations that we teach and that we support provide that little bridge from sometimes the worry, the voices, the doubts, and the concerns. Sometimes they need a little bridge into the listening, where maybe it just gets down to one or two voices. And that's why I think the guided meditation and things are this incredible bridge into that stillness. I think that the reason people fall so in love with Qigong is it gives their mind one thing to think about. Like it's only focusing on the movement and getting the technique, and then from that one thing to think about, they disappear and become the movement, and then it's like true meditation.
Beautiful. Love it.
Okay, Mr. Tristan, what if you had to in one sentence say what meditation is?
I'm not going to say it in one sentence. Were you setting me up?
I took up the whole show. You only get one sentence.
Oh, is there no time left?
No, I'm kidding.
Lindy says, when I'm really into a great meditation, I feel tingles in my body. And that's where I focus my physical therapy in that moment. Beautiful. Okay. Well, this is a path that I absolutely love being on, and I would call meditation a path that has a couple of layers to it for me. So one is there's the practice of meditation, which you could almost say at first is a doing, because a practice is something that you do, but it's also an experience. So I would say that meditation for me, the true meditation, is a state of consciousness you've called listening that you gain access to through your practice. It's a state of consciousness that you gain access to through your practice. It's a state that's always here, ever present. God consciousness, love, universal intelligence. It doesn't matter what names we put on it, really, but because when you're in it, and it's incredible. And you become the most beautiful version of you. There's no question. Your heart, your love, your strength, your wisdom, all of that you have access to. Why? Because you have access to consciousness, right? So I'm kind of not very smart in my opinion, but when I am in a state of meditation, I become genius. And I can say that humbly because I feel that genius is being given to me through the practice. Things come through, some call them downloads, I call them uploads, just connection, where I'm just so humbled by what is shown and what is cultivated. I love the life that's being cultivated, but my lifeline to the best version of me has always been through connection. And meditation can be a multitude of practices. Dancing can give you access. Certain music. Everyone has their own unique way. You can get in the pocket meditating. Some people say it happens racing on a motorcycle. There's all these different ways. Some are just safer. Like sitting in your chair, connecting and breathing, pretty safe.
Yeah. What did we used to say? Somebody said, well, I can experience meditation when I listen to my 10-minute audio with brainwave entrainment. We're like, that's not really convenient, though. We got to
hold on. I need my brainwave entrainment. Wait, can't connect right now. Yeah, but as a tool, fantastic.
Training.
We love to talk about active meditation. We're very physical in our orientation to life. Dancing, movement arts, martial arts, surfing, all these things. We've used our physical bodies to get into state a lot.
Even like performing and acting, playing. As
you guys can relate, right? So many different ways to gain access. And yet there is this beautiful practice, ancient practice, like a prayer of listening, but there's certain things that you can do posturally, where you focus your mind, how you facilitate your breath, that can elicit quite quickly, I might add, access points, tapping in to this state. So I don't have to rely on my surfboard anymore to have a good connection. I don't have to rely on music, although adding these things to the practice,
it makes everything better, right?
Everything. Sit by a stream and listen to the water as you're practicing an art of meditation. Amazing, right?
Shopping at Trader Joe's in a state of meditation.
But there's two sides of the experience. One is I'm using these external, seemingly, things to help put me in state, and then I'm in state, and then these external, I'll go on this side now, external things, you're like, it becomes so enhanced. So one side of it pushes you into state, the other side is your great enjoyment of them, right? Yeah. So someone who's truly tapped in to the state of consciousness is not only experiencing such a heightened life experience, but from the inside out, they have so much joy and love and bubbleliciousness that they can pour onto others. And the level of compassion that they have for humans is off the charts because they feel a connection, a sense of oneness to everything. Everything becomes spirit. Feathers, wrinkles, blubber, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, the judging mind drops. And we just see so clear, so clean, no labels, no opinions, no thinking interference, just being and seeing through these fresh, pure, innocent eyes, like the eyes of a baby. When we first see a baby, oh my gosh, that being just took a dip in the divine. They are so fresh. They are so close to it. Which leads me to a story. There were this family, and they had a son, a young boy. He was about 6 years old, and they just had a new baby that had just been born, his little daughter, and she was just so beautiful and
his sister.
I'm sorry, his sister. He couldn't have a daughter yet. Their daughter, his sister. And he always would ask them, can I go and be with my sister in her, where she is in the crib? And, parents have heard things, right, about, could there be a jealousy? We'll put the baby monitor on and we'll let him, but let's just make sure there's not any of that. And this story is so profound to me because the little boy goes to be with his sister and he's just looking at her. Oh, I can feel it so strong already. And he looks at her and he says, "You're so beautiful. Please remind me of who I am because I'm already forgetting." And why that hits me so deep in my being is that's me. I remember being young and being connected to something. You guys can relate? I used to have swirling sensations in my forehead when I would lay in my bed at night. I didn't know what it was. I'd run to my parents and, "Oh man, what is this thing?" They didn't know. What was that? I still had access through the portal. And then through the programs, through the stories, through the drama and the trauma, slipping into Storyville forgettery. But then something happened. and you guys know this. You started to wake up again. And maybe it wasn't through meditation, some kind of life lesson, some kind of wake-up call. It could have been very spiritual. Could have been through an experience of giving birth, surfing inside a tube, taking a drug that gave you access, making love, having an accident. So many ways that the divine uses to remind us. And if you're lucky, you find a tool, if you will, a practice like meditation that can give you ongoing access. You don't need an accident or a high peak experience. You have daily access. And to cultivate that daily access creates a level of love and awakening that is just magnificent. That to me is the truth of meditation.
Boom.
Can I drop my mic? Mm-hmm. How do y'all feel about it?
And then if things remind you, if feathers remind you, if chokers remind you, if spiritual gangster reminds you, if yoga pants remind you, if incense reminds you, if Bibles remind you to be all that you are.
Whatever it is, stories of Christ. I love the stories. I love the lessons. I love anyone who loves. I really don't care what your belief system is. If you're a lover, I love you. Thank you for being a lover. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for being good. Thank you for your benevolence. You know, whatever it takes, however you get there.
And being committed to that.
Being dedicated, being a disciple of your life, a disciple of love. Ziggy Marley said it really well. Love is my religion. I'm down with that. That kind of crushes all the barriers and all the us versus them nonsense.
Yeah. Judgment keeps us separate. Judgment of others, which is, if you have judgment of others, it's only because you have judgment of yourself. You want to stop judging others, stop judging yourself. That is such a barrier to the depths that you can commune with spirit, that you can commune with source, that you can feel this communion with life itself, so that you can hear, right? Because the whole point of listening is hearing. This morning, I was playing a little game. I didn't tell you this.
Isn't she beautiful? I just see God. Everything's God. Everything.
No.
When you're in God,
No.
When you're in God awareness, God consciousness, God mode, what do you see? You see God in everything.
And I just said, just playing around. It was probably 7 o'clock in the morning, and I said, tickle me today by saying something that makes me think of a butterfly. That's what I said. And it's fine if you don't, always have to do that. And then sure enough, I hear flying out of my mouth when I'm talking to Rita, my mom. She was telling me about this homeless man that had this net on a stick to collect money. And I said, oh, like a butterfly.
Wow.
Net.
Here's a good one. Last night, Sabrina and the puppies have gotten into bed, and I futz around a little bit, locking doors and stuff, and I came in and I petted her head a little bit, and she was already kind of in sleepy land, but I said into her ear, I said...
I don't remember at all.
She was out. I just said, you're going to sleep so beautifully, and God is going to light you up tonight as you sleep. And then you said you had a dream last night.
Mm-hmm. I said, last night. I said, I don't know if it was a dream or an experience, but it was like, it was only me and a giant flat screen TV that encompassed my whole vision in front of me, but it wasn't on a channel, it was just bright light. And
she got lit up.
And he's like, I did that.
I love it.
I appreciate the support. You could give me those suggestions anytime you want.
I love doing that, because who doesn't want to be reminded to be connected to love? Especially when you sleep, you have access, because there's that part that quiets down.
You have access to whatever's
going on.
You've been focusing on.
Whatever you've activated. So if you go to bed worrying about something, you're not going to sleep too good.
Yeah.
So let's now talk about the practical benefits of using meditation for health, for clarity, for emotional stability. Well, because you're literally disconnecting from the worrywart aspect of the mind, and you're slipping into no mind, that's truly, we teach a type of meditation we call mushin, which means no mind, no thinking, just being, pure connection. It's a beautiful practice.
I just love everybody's so excited.
You guys are amazing. I don't know if we've ever had this many comments, and we're gonna go and read them all and share love and put more on the screen. And
yeah, I love that. Kristen said Tristan was giving God instructions to me.
Just a little, little request. Where was I going? I was on something.
Melissa said, "You're so loving
Mushin.
to me. She should make her husband watch this."
Yeah, role model. So I was saying that in that state of
I'm sure if you went live together, he'd
flow,
do the same.
in that state of flow, where you're not in the thinking mind. Because please don't misunderstand us. We think ego is actually very important. I know the ego gets a bum rap in a lot of spiritual circles, but Sabrina has come up with something she calls the egodometer, okay? Which, if you know what ego means, it means self.
A healthy sense of self.
So you don't want to be too far to either direction. You want to be just that beautifully healthy sense of self. And the mind is a beautiful, I'll use the word servant, if you will, like a faithful puppy. Dog that's well trained. It needs guidance, right? Left unattended, the dog chews the slippers and poops on the floor. The mind can do that pretty good. And that's been coming up lately. So if the soul, through connection, is there as the driver of the life, then it can guide the mind. And the mind shapes thoughts into things. The mind takes the energy of soul, source, God, and shapes it into incredible creations. So the mind is very important. But in meditation, we're saying, let's bypass this for a while, and let's just have a direct connect. And I think for some people, they think that meditation is just about de-stressing and calming the mind and settling the nervous system and getting out of the sympathetic into the parasympathetic, and all those things happen. And your brainwaves shift, and it opens you up so that as you're visualizing, you can get thoughts down into the deeper layer. All that stuff's amazing and all wonderful personal development tools. But without really going into the stillness, into the silence, we never really know the depth of ourselves, do we?
Or, for me, happiness.
True connection to joy.
Just happy for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Like you can have all the circumstances. These bills are these possessions, right? Same thing. I have all these things. I don't have all these things. My body feels really good in these ways. It doesn't feel good in these ways. But to me, when I'm in that beautiful place of listening, which from listening becomes co-creating, right? It evolves into that where it isn't like separate. It isn't like watching a movie. I'm gonna sit here in my chair and stare at the screen. The listening is participatory.
Yes.
Right? You're in it. Happiness, including all of it, so you'll be happier than you've ever been over things, and you just allow. You can maintain that state of gratitude and acceptance and non-judgment despite the evidence or what's happening, and the compassion and the love. Not compassion in a way like being spiritual has gotten so phony for a lot of things. So has the word compassion. Compassion is not, oh, I'm really going to support that person's bad mood. I'm really going to support that person wallowing in their self-pity. No. Compassion is, hey, I understand that part of you that isn't remembering to love itself, and I can be there for you to help you remember who you are.
Ooh, that's the juice right there. But you can only help someone remember who they are if you're remembering who you are, right? You got to get there first and hold state and hold space. So isn't that amazing that if we do the work and we connect and we love and we meditate so that we can be that beautiful radiance of love, whether we say anything or not, we're still going to affect everything that we're around. They're going to feel it, right? You guys can feel our heart.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know
when when we used to leave the house and go out to restaurants, do you remember back in the day? And so many times a waiter or something would just walk up to our table. I mean, on repeat, they just walk up and they go, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Or they'll just go, "Whoa, there's like a big Zen vibe." I mean, they always say that because it's so rare that people are given the gift of coming into contact with someone that just, "Hey, can I take your order?" And there's people that look at you like, "Gosh, I love you so much." Or, "Aren't you beautiful? I see you as a human being. I see you as a person." So meditation gets you out of the robot. Right, that slow motion that happens, most people only experience it. We were talking about it in our momentum coaching last night. That slow motion sense that people get when they're in like a car accident or something. They're like, everything slowed down. And it's really, I was aware of so many more things than I usually am.
Bandwidth opens up.
The bandwidth opens in meditation, and you're aware of so much more. Therefore, you can be present to so much more. You get so much more data. That's how you're hearing the guidance that's being given to you. It's also how you're directed into what someone else may need, and you're just completely more aware.
Yeah. There's so many benefits to this practice. Obviously, we could go on for I think weeks talking about this topic. Hey, maybe we will. What ages people the fastest is worry and stress. You want to have more longevity. You want to have less wrinkles. You want to feel more pep in your step. Get out of the funk in the mind. Connect to source energy. Meditation is Qigong. Whether it's moving or sitting or lying, it's connecting to life force. We like to call it love force. You're connecting to that pure vibration that the baby is connected to. We see the pure, innocent, beautiful, high vibe baby that we're so, oh my God, so beautiful, so cute.
And the puppy.
And the puppy. And anything that's vibrating in love, that's clean connection, right? We have that access still. We might have a lot of noise and story, but it doesn't mean that can't be released and transformed.
Yeah.
There is a way to bypass the mind, and meditation is the number one way we know how.
And what's great is when you practice meditation and you shift what you're going to call your normal state, right? Because everybody will say, "Oh, I used to be really reactive about that, not so much anymore." But when being in a state of love and flow becomes more and more and more and more and more and more your natural state, you're greatly aware when you're out of it, when you're in self-pity, when you're in self-judgment, when you're just being a little cranky, when you're being snippy, when you're feeling not enough, because the contrast is bigger. And so thank you for all of those things, because it reminds you to remember more deeply who you are. Right? Like nothing, it's not like, "Oh, I'm just going to dissolve into meditation until my body dies and float with the angels and the feathers and the chokers," right? That's not what it's about. It's about using everything to continue to grow like it's never done. And that's what's so delicious about it. And it is contagious. I think that's why we desire to be together as a tribe. Why are you guys right now here with us live? Because it is contagious. The love and the energy is contagious. When someone's playing that note that you love, you're like, "Oh, I love that note. Let me play it too." And we can all play the note together. Otherwise, you wouldn't take the time to join this live, and you wouldn't take the time to watch the replay. It's because we're playing your note.
And isn't that cool that we have all these friends here that we all get to hang out, share in the chat.
You're playing our note.
And you creating with us this space for all of us to share about this topic, where we might not have had this chance to share in this, had this grouping not come together. Yep. So we have to thank you for being here, allowing us to share our insights and our stories. And we want to inspire ourselves and others to remember what we already know, right? Like, we're not teaching a meditation technique today. We're just saying, hey, let's remember the power and the beauty of this.
And to notice when you slip in and out.
And know that you have many other people around you and in your life who love this conversation, because maybe you're not having this with other people because they don't want to have it, or for whatever reason, it's happening right here, right now.
Yep.
And this is the power of community. And so we have to say thank you to you guys.
And you might be speaking to some people, and you know that based on their upbringing or their education in certain ways, their experiences in certain ways, you have to change the words, and that's fine, right? You can choose your vocabulary in order to connect with them. You might, in some situations, when you're talking about meditation, you may choose to call it Dip Just Got in Flow, because that may be how they hear it, and that way you can commune with them. And you might say, I just really love when I tap into that state of devotional prayer.
Yeah.
Even though meditation is listening, a lot of people call devotional prayer that listening state.
Listen, yeah.
Like singing. Why do all the religions sing? Because it puts you into that state.
I think that's all we want to be, is just in alignment with love.
Mm-hmm.
What else? There's nothing better. We're going to keep talking about this forever. And we are going to do some fun things in the next few weeks. There are people who would like to learn how to meditate that we know and they don't yet know. There's many of you here. We've taught you guys how to meditate or take your meditations to another level. So we're going to continue doing that. There's been requests for like a deep dive mastery. Some coaches have asked us if they could teach our meditation process. Yeah. We've been in conversation about creating a certification. And
we have never done our meditation mastery.
No, we've only taught it ourselves, but we've got enough of a tribe here of people we trust that we feel comfortable doing that. So be on the lookout. We'll be giving you an invitation to do mastery and certification. First time ever. And we're going to do a really cool thing for you guys that are the first group through.
Yeah, whenever we do something for the first time, the first group through gets everything live. And then after that, a portion of it is recorded, which is still amazing. And
we're also going to do, with everything that's going on, we know, well, there's just two things I want to say to land this little thought.
Two.
Just only two.
Okay, one.
One is whenever we do something new like this, because we have a lot of people who've already written us tons of things about how meditation's changed their life. But we actually want to take people through a process, a mastery process certification, and we want them to share with us what they got from doing deep dive with us so that we can tell others. So that's one thing. So in order to do that, we're going to do an amazing discount for the first group. And I forgot number 2, because that's the only one that mattered.
Number 2 is to listen.
Number 2 is to keep listening. Oh, I remember.
Okay. What?
I love you. That's the state we want to get you to, is the state of you look in the mirror and you see you and you go, you're the person I've been waiting to meet. You're the person I've been looking for all my life. And that's possible through meditation. Somebody did ask me another question, though, and I have to answer it.
3.
So the third, but this wasn't my question, this was your question. How does this art of meditation play into the 5-year journey of back healing? And I will say 2 main things about that. And see, I'm the man that loves 2. Number 1 is, if I didn't have meditation, I would have probably not been here anymore. Because meditation gave me access to listen to God and to be guided. But on the flip side of that, I had to learn to meditate in a new way. And Qigong helped me learn how to meditate in a new way, because I was going so outside of myself in meditation that I was cutting off my awareness to my body, because my body was in so much pain. Mm-hmm. And so I was using meditation in the wrong way. We have learned so many things about meditation, from the esoteric to the scientific, that we really feel we're good people to teach this.
Which is why...
And that's why we're doing this training.
Why the back injury, it didn't really make any sense logically, is sometimes you're given situations that at the time you can't understand. And that's why know that whatever is being given is given for love and for growth. That we were like running a martial arts school and running a dance school. If it wasn't for the back injury, which shut everything down, and the financial struggles that we went through, and losing everything, and relationship struggles, and how are we going to shift, and how can we help more people, and how can we go online, we wouldn't have done any of this. I mean, who knows? But we really think that was a gift given to us so that we could give our gifts to more.
It was a catalyst.
So as
for sure.
as painful and horrible and everything as it is, it's also probably one of the greatest gifts that we've been given.
Absolutely.
To have to work through that.
Absolutely.
And so many people need to hear that message.
Yeah. I would not be
Of
who
resilience.
I am if it wasn't that. The resilience, and I have never connected so deep because of that challenge. That was where the deepest awakening came from. The deepest connection to the divine happened because of that. And I made a deal with the divine, and the divine showed up, man. The divine guided me back. And so I was healed because of meditation or access, and saying, please guide me, please show me, please help me. I will give and dedicate my entire life to serving others. If you could please just show me how to be healed. And I was shown with this lovely lady.
How to let go of what was causing the blockages.
And we created Satori method, and from the very center of our mat is pure light. And that's what happens. Okay, nice show. Who would have thunk? The way it started was a little funky.
How did it start?
You know, what's up, dude? Like the most amazing meditation. Just chill out. Anyway. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Okay, I played the music. You have any closing thoughts?
I'm listening.
You're just listening. She's so cheeky. Thank you, guys.
I am cheeky.
You're very cheeky. Thank you for all of the incredible love. Thank you for being so beautiful. Thank you for being these incredible extensions.
Thank you for giving
of
us
love.
someone to share with.
I know. You make our Thursday nights so rich. We're so in love with you. Okay. Until next time. Peace up.